Welcome back to Top of the Chops. A few weeks ago we looked at a song that I worked on called Pillow Talk by Zayn. Now, because we did that, we missed out on what would have been Top of the Chops, which was Toosie Slide by Drake. Now, it's probably a better time to do it now because he's done the double and he's got #1 album as well as single at the moment. So yeah, we're going to take a look at this today. So this song has blown up on TikTok because of the dance. I'm not going to teach you the dance, I'm going to show you some guitar parts from the song. But yeah, a lot of songs at the moment that are reaching the top of the charts are doing so because of TikTok. It's a big social media platform at the moment where people are posting videos and dances and stuff. If you've been living under a rock and haven't heard of it, or if you're a bit old like me. So the song was written by Drake himself and produced by Oz, or OZ, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. But yeah, really great tune. It's very kind of minimal. We've got basically a chord progression. It's not even a chord progression really. It sounds like a synth, or it might even be a sample. And also when you're playing along with it, it sounds slightly sharp. And what a lot of these rap records are doing at the moment, the sample or the music part of the song behind the beat is kind of pitched out of tune slightly. It might be using a plugin. I use one called Vinyl by Isotope, I think the plugin is. And yeah, it basically emulates a tape, so kind of getting that warbling effect, but also pushing it out of tune slightly. So when you're playing along with the guitar, it might sound slightly flat, your guitar, so you can tune it up slightly if you want, but to be honest, it's very, very slight, so you should be okay. So yeah, the chord progression, I have kind of worked out what I think it would be. There might not even be chords in there. It does sound like there's some kind of synth going on and then a lead, but it sounds very lead based in the background. So it's probably a case of me getting the chords near enough to what I think they are, but they will work when you play them. Okay, and then what we're going to do is look at the lead part because it's quite a catchy song. And it's actually modal, so we're going to look at the theory behind it and do some improvising as well. So make sure you subscribe and we'll jump right in. Okay, let's look at the chords to begin with. So this song is in B major, but our first chord is a C sharp minor. So technically we would call this C sharp Dorian, okay? So I'll get into that a bit more after we've talked about the chords, because then we're going to talk about what scales to use and things like that. So I just use a normal E minor shape for the C sharp minor on the 9th fret of the E string. Then we jump up to an F sharp major chord. Now I use the top half of the bar chord, but I also put the C sharp on top as well. I think it's important that that note stays through most of the chords until the last chord. Oh, sorry, that note, yeah. So I use 11, 11, 11 from the D, G and B strings, and then the 9th fret on the E string. And you can use that chord again for the 3rd chord, but I quite like using the sus4, so going to using my little finger on the B string and going to the 12th fret. Okay, everything else stays the same. And then we go to an E major 7. So it starts on the 14th fret of the D string, then it goes 13 on the G, 12 on the B, and 11 on the E, which is really nice, okay? And I like to just kind of give my whammy bar a bit of a shake on each chord just for some colour. Move up. Okay, and it's literally just a nice clean strum on each of those chords, okay? Now, for the sake of this video, I've done that chord progression and it just loops, and that is basically what happens for the whole song. It's basically a synth or a sample. I'm not sure whether it was played or it's an actual sample, just going around on a loop with the trap drums going on in the background. And then obviously Drake's vocal. Okay, so yeah, I think if we look at those chords as a close-up, and then I'll show you in more depth the lead part, so the vocal melody on top. Okay, so I know that I mentioned it's in C sharp Dorian earlier, so I'll just talk a little bit more about that. From the chords, we can see that it kind of says we're in B major or G sharp minor. It's either of those two keys, but because the first chord and the last chord, or sorry, no, the first chord in the phrase, yeah, it always resolves back to that first chord, is C sharp. Okay, so I would call that C sharp Dorian. Okay, now when I'm playing these melodies, I think of them, actually when I'm playing the melodies, I am thinking of the Dorian shapes. I am starting on that C sharp and kind of thinking of a shape here. But really it's exactly the same as if I was to play like a G sharp minor or a B major scale, okay? So for example, a lot of the first verse melody is based around this B major shape. And all you've got to do is start that from the second note, so C sharp. Obviously you put your C sharp on the top to get the full 2-octave scale. But when we play it like that, it's basically a minor scale, but with a major 6 in it. So there's your major 6, okay? And interestingly enough, we'll see this in, I think, the chorus of the song, or it might be the post-chorus. Drake kind of resolves to that note a lot, so that major 6th. So it really does kind of give that Dorian flavour. But yeah, we'll talk about that properly when we're looking at that particular part. But yeah, just kind of think of it in whichever kind of shape you feel comfortable. I prefer playing in natural minor scales or thinking in natural minors because it's what I first learned. I really kind of got into my improvisation using minor shapes rather than thinking major. I know they're exactly the same, but obviously it's where you start and feel comfortable, okay? Now that first melody, so it's very kind of syncopated. I'm not going to give you the exact rhythms and tell you kind of how many rests there are and things like that. You'll just kind of have to play along with the song, but I'll give you the notes and I'll show you how I play it, and then you'll kind of get it as you go from there. So like I said earlier, think about it as B major scale, but obviously starting on your C sharp here. That's kind of where the first part starts, okay, and he goes. So 7th fret on the B string and 8th fret on the G string, and then 9th fret on the D string, which gives you that B major triad. So funnily enough, even though it's coming on that C sharp minor chord, you're starting off kind of making a melody out of a B major triad. Okay, so it goes. So it comes in just before the bar, so it's. So I think, yeah, that 9th fret on the B string is the 1. So you'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, it starts, yeah, a whole bar. I think we're at 163 BPM, the tempo. So yeah, if you think of the bars as quite fast or the speed is quite fast, you get that with these sort of kind of trap hip hop tunes that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So our chords actually last 2 bars in length, and they hold out throughout those 2 bars. Okay, so this one's, and it's slightly different each time. He does it like 4 times in a row. You got. So he might do 2 of those last B notes, and he might go between the 7 and 8 more, and he might do it less. So might just do the last 2, or he might go. Okay, and then sometimes he comes in just before as well. So I think the last one he goes. Does like 2 extra 7s on there, but yeah, just listen to the melody. They're the notes, and that's the kind of phrasing you play. But yeah, it just depends what he's doing, because obviously this kind of sung rap thing is still kind of a rap flow. There's like so much rhythm to it. There's quite a lot of syncopation, which is why rap is so great in terms of rhythms, because they're not just kind of singing long notes all the time. So yeah, he is singing notes, but it's that rap flow, so that's why you get that kind of interesting part to play when you're playing the lead. And then yeah, out of that last one, there he goes. So yeah, we're going to slide down a lot. There's a lot of sliding actually to kind of go with the flow of the vocal. Toosie slide. So from the G string 8th fret, and he's going to slide it down to the 6 and the 4. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 fours on the G string at the end. And then that's where the chorus comes in. So he's going. And then for the chorus, we've got, and this is where the sliding is happening. So he's going 6 to 8, grace note slide, and then hit the 8 again when you get there. And then back down again with a slide. And then we do exactly the same, but we switch to our first finger, and then go 4th fret slide up to the 8, and then, sorry, 4th fret slide up to the 6, and then back down in the exact same manner as before. So it's like right finger slide, left finger slide. Which is really weird, obviously, because the vocal, the lyrics are like left foot, or right foot up, left foot slide, or whatever. But yeah, I kind of think of that when I'm sliding with my fingers as well. So it's almost passing one finger to the other and going lower, which is really, really kind of fun to play. Even though it's just literally 3 notes sliding between each other, it is quite fun to play over the top of those chords at that tempo as well. It's got a real cool groove. Okay, and then the very last one, he goes. So it's just a lot more notes, kind of 16th sort of. So slide up to 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, slide down to 6. Again, slide being the 1 and then 3 more. Or sorry, no, it would be 4 still. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so. Yeah, and the same thing from the 6 to the 4, but land on 1 more 4 to finish it off. Okay, then you've got, I don't know if this is part of the chorus still or a post-chorus. It's when he does the I Can Dance Like Michael Jackson. Cool, so we're pulling off from 8 to 6. Ooh. Yeah, and then down to 9th fret on the D string. 2 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And down up on that 8. Sorry, 9. Then you're going to do a grace note slide from 4 to 6. Okay, so. And then here's the I Can Dance Like Michael Jackson. And it's a really kind of cool swagger on that, how he holds the note and then ends the Jackson. So you got to wait for an offbeat. I think it's. Oh no, it's not on the offbeat. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so he's obviously doing the Jack, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so yeah, he's hitting on the 1 and then on the 4 as well, which is really cool. He does the same thing 4 times again, I think. And yeah, if you want to get it perfect to how he's doing the vocal, his last one goes 1 and 2. So 3, 3, 4. Okay, so that 3 there on the G string is the major 6, I believe, in that C sharp. Yeah, so that's basically what I was saying earlier, where he's focusing on those modal notes. He's obviously, well, I say obviously, but he's probably not thinking of it as modal as he's doing it and as he's writing. It's just kind of how it's come in, obviously. When you've got those chords running and you can sing, you're going to hit notes that are in the key, but you won't be necessarily thinking, oh, this is the C sharp minor mode Dorian or whatever. You'll just literally be singing and landing on the right notes. So, but yeah, that's kind of showing that kind of modal tonality there, where he's going. Because most of the melody before then has been the same sort of notes. This is where it gets a bit more catchy because he adds that extra note in. Okay, so that's how it ends. And then he does a repeat of it. Okay, and then does 2 of those for the second time, and then ends on, this is a bit kind of ad-libby. Yeah, he does. Oh yeah, every day with it. Yeah, so maybe from 8, 6 to 4 again. And that's like a nice big slide up to the 8 and then back down to the 4 from the 6. And then hit it when you get there. And I'll show you how to get it. So again, the same ending just before the chorus comes in it again. It's so confusing to explain because it's a lot of the same notes and it's not kind of a melody that is a guitar part. It's just kind of that whole rap sing thing going on. So yeah, it's really hard to explain it and play, but once you know what shapes I'm using and the scales I'm using, it should be fairly easy to follow when you're listening to the vocal. And what I would say is if you're a fan of the song, you'll probably know the vocal melody anyway. So as long as you know the notes, you'll kind of know the rhythm of what to play if you've heard a song before. So yeah, sorry if I've explained that a bit strangely. I know it's not as straightforward as some of the other ones we've done. But yeah, I did want to give this one a go, especially as I missed it when I did the Pillow Talk playthrough. But yeah, that's basically what I'm going to show you of the guitar parts. Obviously there's no guitar parts in the song, but the chords from the song and the vocal melodies on top. Now I'm going to show a bit of improvisation over the top as well as a close-up shot, just because I want to pad it out and give you as much as possible to do over this song. And you might just want to throw the song on and have a jam over it with some scales. So like I said earlier, I would use either B major or G sharp minor, or think of it as C sharp Dorian, and then just have some fun with it. The shapes that I'm using, for those melodies by the way, I was kind of around this B major. So middle finger starting on the 7th fret of the E string, and then he goes down to the, if you kind of think of it as the natural minor shape 4 on the A string, so 4th fret, but then we shift up to the 3rd fret for the G string. So yeah, it's that shape, but obviously we're changing the minor 6 to a major 6. But you could just think of that as G sharp, just starting on C sharp. So G sharp minor. Okay, but just, yeah, starting on your C sharp minor. And that's what I do when I'm improvising this. I'm thinking of it as G sharp minor on the 4th fret, and then up here on the 11th fret on the A string. My two favourite shapes, shape 1 and 4 if you're thinking natural minor. Okay, but yeah, obviously from the song we are using that B major shape as well. Okay. So yeah, just have some fun with all of those scales over the top with some improvising. I'm going to show you some improvising that I do over the top of it as well. It's quite bare because all we've got in the background is those chords resolving, just one strums over the bars. But yeah, you should get the idea and be able to have your own fun with the song. Thanks for watching again. Make sure to come back next week and we'll be having a look at another top 10.